Hello, friends and neighbors. How you guys doing? Oh, welcome to our Jaimie Powders edition. Everybody hear me okay? Give me a 1 or 2, please. Oh. Terminated craft therapy. There we go. Thank you, Laura. Okay, we are going to have such fun today. Oh my gosh. I haven't decided how many, do I know how many techniques we're going to show today? We're going to show 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 16 things on my list we could do if we had enough time. I don't know that we'll get to all of them. There might have to be a version 2, but it is going to be great fun. Okay, I started out here this time by going through, since we have all these beautiful colors while we're letting everybody sign on, I'm going to show you my color swatches. Where are you? There you are. Go ahead and go big. There you go. I'm going to show you my color swatches for all of the new and existing, the new and old, all the colors of the Jaimie powders. This one is one of the new ones. It's called a Blue Wish. On the top, you'll see it on black. On the bottom, you'll see it on white paper. Is that glorious or what? That's Blue Wish. Next up, we have another relatively new color. This is called Sunburst. It's amazing to me how they change depending on the color you put at the background. I found it really helpful to make myself some color swatches. I used them over and over again last night. This is called Green Bay. I love this one. Isn't that green on the top just glorious? This one is called Groovy Grape. This is one of the originals. Still love it. You bet you can guess why. Well, those blues and greens. Hello to everybody, by the way. Hi, Laura and Betty and Mary R. and Annette. Who else is on here, honey? This is Fuchsia Rose. There's Thelma. And I saw Mary R. Alice, good to see you, Alice. Mary Lynn, where's Mary? Oh yeah, hi Mary Lynn, you're there in the middle. Okay, and Charma, and I think I got everybody, but I'm sure we'll have some more folks dropping in. So just wanted to give a shout out to those of you who are here. Look at this. This is Fuchsia Rose, and take a look at how that looks on the black at the bottom as well as on the top. Beautiful. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, hi, Mitzi. Here, this is Sunset Glow. This is one of the newer colors. Elsie. Hi, Elsie. I have something to show you, especially, friend. We'll let the others see, too. Okay. This one is one of the newer ones called Boulevard Lights. Comes out kind of just golden on the black, but look at that on the, maybe it's easier. Maybe I can show you more if I come up this way. Let's come in just a little bit closer since I've realized that if I go sideways, I can show them more. There we go. This one doesn't show a great deal. You have to kind of get it at the right angle to see the pinks on the black cardstock. But this is called Purple Rain Stop. And here, this is called Into the Blue. Look at that. This is probably one of my favorite new colors. because it's got purple and blue and pink. And I love it. This one's called the Pumpkin Patch, a relatively new color. Forgive my colored nails. I was working on this last night, so I have all kinds of inks up under my fingernails. I don't wear gloves unless it's a matter of safety. That's the only time I wear gloves. This is one of the newer colors. It's called Peppermint Twist. Now, that makes no sense at all to me, unless perhaps in Europe the peppermints are like spearmints. I don't know. But it's called Peppermint Twist, and it's got purples and blues and greens. Go figure. Peppermint Twist right here. This one is called Burnished Plum, or Gilded Plum, sorry. Gilded Plum. Interesting that it comes out very fuchsia-like on white, but very bronzy on black. This one's called Heavenly Hues. I love this one too. Look at the colors in that. And I believe this is the one. No, this one's just kind of pinkish on the blue. But isn't it beautiful? This one's called Flirty Sky. Flirty Sky. Hi, Glenn. Good to see you. This one's called Zesty Lime. Just a little hint, we're going to use this in creating our Northern Lights today. Coral Crush. This doesn't have a name on the back. I'll have to figure out what that is and label it when we get there. Oh, then I should still show it to you. It's beautiful. I forgot to get a name on the back of it. I thought I checked all these. What's the new color with the blue and purple? Well, let me see. This one is called Into the Blue. And this is absolutely one of my favorite. Isn't that gorgeous? Wow. And this one's called Red Oxide. This one is called Sandstorm. This one here is intended to be an over color. In other words, it doesn't have much color on its own, but you put it on over the other colors. This one is called Golden Marble, and it creates, as the name would infer, it creates a golden cast over the top of your work. This one's called Molten Gold. This one is called Beyond Blue. This one is an absolutely gorgeous color. When you're mixing colors, this one should be used sparingly because it takes over. Of all the colors, this is the one that absolutely dominates everything. Once you put it in, it just takes over everything. This one, and you can beginning to tell how many colors we have. I believe we have 26 now. This one is called Pale Blush. It's one of the original colors. This one is called Frozen Pearl, and you can barely see it on the white. In fact, I think I had a couple little spots of color that I picked up off my palette, but you can hardly see it on the white. But look at it on the black. Isn't that beautiful? And I have some samples where I have covered them in the pearl when I finished. Oh my gosh, you're pretty. This is Teal Marine, another of my favorite colors. This is one of the originals. Teal Marine. And finally, we have Copper Splash. So, there we go. And I'll have to figure out what this is when we get to it. I don't know what that one is. Okay, where do we want to start today? I think we just need to start by just laying down a little color. So let me organize my work area a bit here. I'm going to pull out some white cardstock, and we'll pull out a piece of black cardstock. I'm going to get my board out here because I like to kind of, it doesn't look like I protect my work surface at all, but I do try to protect my table from these dies just a little bit. Sometimes I work in one of the trays to my station over here. We may do that in a little bit. Okay, this is my selection of colors. And what I want to do here, I think I still want to just go ahead and get some of these out. Try and turn the labels towards me so I can see what I've got. I like it when the bottles get older and the color kind of gravitates a bit into the clear cap because it makes it easier to see which colors they are. You need a lot of room to lay them all out. Let's do, it's not long now, and everything's going to be about the ocean as we head into summer, because it seems like all the manufacturers come out with ocean themed stuff for summer. So we're going to make some blue-green paper, I think, for summer. Might put a little bit of, we'll probably put a little bit of pearl in it too. I was trying to lay them all out here in front of me. Pan out a little bit, honey. It's a little problematic to lay them all out in front of me, guys. Okay. The first thing we want to do when we're using these powders is we want to spritz our card. Now, I'm just using regular cardstock. There are those who argue that you should use watercolor card with this. And watercolor card is wonderful, but watercolor card is also can be expensive. There are 26 colors in total, Sharma, and we have them all in stock. But you spritz the back of your card and the front of your card. Arguably, watercolor paper will do the very best job of allowing your colors to blend and move. But you know what? We can get really fine results with regular cardstock, and that's what I like. So when you go to put your powders down, if you really want to disperse your color, you're going to hold it up and just tap the bottom of your container. And that's going to allow you to really disperse your colors. Come on in closer now, if you would, please. Okay, that was into the blue. We're going to put down a little bit of Green Bay here. So if you want to really disperse the colors across your page, you're going to hold your bottle up a bit, and that's going to allow the little flakes to kind of just drop onto your cardstock. I'm going to give this a little spritz, and we'll just see where we are. And that's actually really pretty. It's really pretty. where there's more water on your paper, you'll get these little droplets. Where the water is lighter, you just kind of get little bits of color. I'm going to come back in and give this a little more color. Now, if I wanted more concentrations of color, let's say, for example, I want kind of a colored band right across the center of my card, and I really want more concentration of color, then I'm going to drop my bottle down closer to my paper and tap it. And then I'm going to get these little splotches of color. And you can see how we really get more green in there this time. I'm going to show you what I mean by the blue taking over. I am going to put just the tiniest bit of blue. This is beyond blue, but I'm going to go really light because, I kid you not, the blue just takes over where you use the blue. Now, if I decide that I want kind of a more marbled tone, I have a lot of water on this right now. That's okay. You can, you know, the beautiful thing about this is there's no such thing of doing it right or wrong. There's a bajillion ways you can do this. In fact, I'm kind of bouncing ahead a little bit, but I want to show you this. If I decide that I have too much concentration of color in one area or maybe too much water in one area, I can take a paper towel or a baby wipe and I can come in and it will convert these colors into kind of more pastel shades, which is beautiful too. And I can actually drop color onto my paper right from my daubing. So I'm going to put a little bit more flake of color on now. This is not unusual, guys, for me. I add color, I take color off, I add color, I add more color. See that blue? Just even where I sprinkled it, that blue is just really, really concentrated. I'm going to come back in with some of my original colors a little bit here now. I'm not going to put more blue on because I have a lot of blue now. I'm going to come back in with that Green Bay a little bit and just hit it lightly. The Green Bay is really, really pretty because it has a variety of colors in it, as does the into the blue. I'm going to add a little bit of into the blue again now that we've kind of taken a look at what the other colors do. I'm going to give it a very light spritz this time. I really don't want to have big flowing bits of water this time, because that's my preference. Although, see, you can see it reacting with our water now. I may not even have to add water. See how we can see the colors moving a bit there? When I have colors on the page, I like to use a technique from alcohol ink to kind of move my colors too. I don't know if I have enough water on here right now to do this, but we'll see. See how I can kind of move my colors with a straw? And I'm going to stop there. I actually think that's quite beautiful. I'm going to stop right there. I like that color. You see that? That's beautiful. I'm going to transfer this to my tray. Let that dry. Okay, so we've done just laying down color on white. Let's lay down some multiple colors on our black. And that's where our color swatches kind of come in handy, because as you saw, some colors don't do much on black and some thrive on black. And now I'm going to spritz both sides of my card. It's really important that you spritz both sides, because if you don't spritz the back, your paper will try to roll. And let's look at our color swatches and see what shows dramatically on the black. I do love the way this Teal Marine shows up on the black, although it's kind of white, isn't it? Let's see what we get. The blue thrives on white, thrives on black, so we might add some of that. We might add some molten gold. I do like the way the red oxide plays on the black. We actually have put that and I'm going to use some of this lime. I do like the way that the I don't know what I was just going to say. I lost my train of thought. I'm going to put down, let's see, let's find the red oxide. It's fuchsia. Here's red oxide. Let's start by putting some red oxide down. Maybe we'll end up with some natural purples. That would be fun if that happened. I do like a little bit more concentration of color on the black. So you'll see that I'm coming down and hitting it a little harder. Let's get some of that takeover blue. Beyond blue. So we can get some nice blue there. Let's get some of that Zesty Lime. Oh, that really comes out. And get some Zesty Lime and toss in there. And let's get some Molten Gold just for fun. Where did that go? Molten Gold, Sandstorm, Boulevard. Where's the gold hiding? Sunburst. Maybe not. Molten Gold.
Not all prospectors ask.
What's that?
Isn't that what all prospectors ask?
Where's the gold? Bryce wants to know. Did you guys hear him? Isn't that what all prospectors ask? Where's the gold? Clever guy. Oh, there it is. Molten gold. Okay, let's put a little gold in here just for interest. Now let's spritz this with a little water and see what we get. I have no idea. That's the fun of this sometimes, is just the discovery of what we're going to get. Let those colors work. Come in and a little bit closer so you can see the colors actually working. You can actually see, I had a couple dry spots here. You can actually see the colors beginning to, there we go, move. And I think that's one of the part of the fun, is just watching the colors move. Now I'm going to be a little careful when I move this one, because you can see I have some pretty good droplets in there. And I really don't want, sometimes you want the colors to run. This time I really don't. I just want the colors to kind of dry the way I have them on here, because I think they're interesting. It can be useful to have a pair of tweezers handy to pick up the corner of your paper. Okay, So we have spritzed on. We've actually done one of the spritz on. We've spritzed on white, we've spritzed on black, and we've actually sponged off and added more colors, which was one of the things I wanted to show you. So we've actually gone through my first three. We've looked at our color swatches. Next, I want to show you the difference if we decide to apply this with a blender instead of just dropping the colors on. This time we're going to...
Alice asks, when you get a chance, can you show samples of Sunset Glow and Sunburst?
Yes, Sunset Glow. Yes. Sunset Glow. Pull that out here. I'll show it to you individually. There's another one that's not labeled, or maybe it's the same one. That's the same. No, that's the same one. I really have to figure out what that is. There's Sunset Glow, but we'll put it down with something else. And then what was the other one, Alice?
Sunburst.
Sunburst. This is Sunburst. And let's put them down. Let's put them down on a sheet of paper and kind of mix them a little bit. That's actually, I mean, I don't mind. We'll just make that our colors for our, or some of our colors at least, for our spritz the back of your card so it doesn't. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Inez. Okay, so Sunburst is right there. And Boulevard Lights, Sandstorm. Looking for the right color, Sunset Glow. And I think I'll pull out, let's just see the yellow kind of colors together. We'll start by putting one in each of the corners, and then we'll mix them up. How's that? Let's start by putting one in each of the corners. Now, this time I want to use a dauber technique. So I'm going to put a little, this is, let's start with the ones that you liked. Sunset Glow. I'm going to put a little on my mat here. Come back up just a little, honey, so they can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to add my water to it right over here on the edge. Then I'm just going to take my dauber sponge, mix that a bit, and I'm going to come into my card with a dauber. Now, this may be one where I want to sprinkle it a little after, because the very act of picking it up on my dauber changes the color just a little bit, because we have color pellets, you know, for lack of a better term, little color granules of different colors in here, and we may lose a little bit in the mixing process. I'll try and pick some more up though. Now, if I don't want it to look like it's kind of modeled, I can actually take my blender and I can push out where it is. See where I can take out the heavier areas and just end up with a really pretty soft tone. So if you're wanting like pastel shades, this is how you do it. If I want it to be more concentrations in some areas, then I can do that. Let's put down our next one, which was Sunburst. We'll just create a little pool of Sunburst over here at the side. I like that we have these new yellower tones. We didn't really have much that was in the yellow family before. I'm just going to wipe off my blender a little bit so I get a more true color. Let's add some water to that. Pick a little bit of that. This is called, again, this is Sunburst. Yeah, this is Sunburst. And that was Sunset Glow we did earlier. So this is Sunburst. And this one's decidedly yellow. It's softer tone, but it's decidedly yellow. Again, if I want it to be all very soft and I don't want the concentrations of color, I can simply kind of blend those a little bit. Okay, now let's put in, I actually have two more yellow tones here, or I have, yeah. Next we have Boulevard Lights. Let's create a little pool of Boulevard Lights up here. We'll spritz it with a little water. My dauber's pretty clean. I just wiped it off. And let's get some Boulevard Lights on here. Boulevard Lights is interesting because it has a lot of gold fleck in it, but it's more like it's beginning to turn dusk. And then you want I'm going to pick up some of that gold. And then the gold is setting into.
Close the colors.
And if I want to soften my colors, I can just kind of work out the little concentrations of color and make them more pastel. That's Boulevard Lights. I'm going to sprinkle some on top of this when we're done here, by the way, guys, because I want you to see it. I want you to see the colors both ways. This is a new color called Sandstorm. And let's get this one down in this fourth corner. I don't have a lot of water on there left, so I'm going to spritz just a little. Whoops, I almost put it right on top because you kind of get used to doing that. This is Sandstorm. The color swatches are trying to escape here. And here's the color of Sandstorm. Very light yellow with a lot of gold to it. Let's look at these. Just hold them up for you. There isn't a lot of water pooling on this, but you can see the pearlescence even as we are right now. You see the golds and the pearl colors in it. We're not going to stop here. Let's go ahead and take some concentrations of color and just fleck them down on top now. I wanted you to see how we could get the pastel shades using the dauber, but I will also want you to see the true nature of all of these colors. So let's come back in over the top. I'm going to give this another spritz, and I'm going to come in over the top And here is our Boulevard Lights. Our Boulevard Lights. We're just going to let that work for a second. Next, we have our Sunset Glow over here. I'm going to tap color. On top of our Sunset Glow. We have our Sunburst down here in the corner. And then we had our Sandstorm in this corner. My Boulevard Lights, the little dark flecks kind of gravitated when I put it on. Okay, one more light spritz to let this really activate those droplets I just put on there. And let's see what happens with our colors. Look how orange this one's getting. This one is, the Sandstorm has really a lot of gold in it. The Boulevard Lights, I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, actually has really quite a bit of gold in it also. And then this one, the Sunburst, has some reds and pinks and oranges and gold. It also has gold, so it's kind of a neat introduction, or a neat display of color. Now, what happens if I just kind of daub this around and mix these colors a bit? I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's see if we can kind of mix these colors up a bit and see if we can come up with something interesting. I don't know. It's an experiment. They're all experiments. Now, I want to tell you, there will be times you get done and you go, oh my gosh, I don't like that at all. Do not get rid of those. Do not get rid of those experiments that don't work, because you can do, Sunburst kind of takes over too, doesn't it? Let's get some more.
Sunset Glow reminds her of Autumn Kit from Hunky Dory.
These would make beautiful background papers for some of those, wouldn't they? I'm putting a little of that Sunset Glow in over the other colors. The Sunburst, the yellow, kind of takes over. So I'm thinking that by putting a little bit of that, I'm going to put little Boulevard Lights around to bring those colors around to the rest of it. But if I do something and it's a fail, it's okay. I will use that to cut up for my die cutting. There will be pretty areas in that you can die cut. Oh, it would be pretty sunflowers. It would be beautiful for sunflowers, wouldn't it? Even the blue would be pretty for sunflowers.
Catherine says it's a beautiful constellation of stars. Sharma suggests die cut leaves out of them.
Ooh, nice. Give this just a little bit more. I didn't give it much of the Sunburst because the yellow is so strong, but I'm going to give it a little bit more yellow because I'm trying to mix up the colors a little bit now.
They can really see the gold when you spritz. So that was...
Okay, let's give it another spritz. These would be fun, the sunflowers. Maybe I'll cut some sunflowers before next week. What we're doing today is making our creations, and next week we're going to make things out of them. So there won't be a kit next week either. But I am going to give you a newsletter today where I'm linking everything I'm using so that if you want to play along, you absolutely can. See the gold in there? I think you're right. I think this would be magnificent. Sunflowers and leaves. So I'll try and die cut this into some fun things. So there's our Debbie's going to order it. I've been watching for the dragonflies to come out, Roberta. Yes, Debbie's going to order the dragonfly set. Okay, so that was our experiment using the blender. And you can see what the blender does. You know, I am going to do one more blender project here, though. One more blender project. I'm going to put down a piece of paper, and we are going to use a blender through a stencil. And as soon as I figure out what I did with my stencils, there they are. That would be a great project. I actually have two projects I want to do. Let's get a piece. Oh, I like this. Let's get this one. I'm going to grab a piece of paper here. I'm going to spritz my paper on both sides. Let's lay down our stencil. You could attach your stencil with some washi tape or low tack tape. I'm going to use my magnets since I have them. And hold my stencil down nice and tight. This is one of the new Jaimie Rogers stencils. I think that I would like to do this in fuchsia, in maybe some. This is one of the new colors. Maybe I'll use this instead. This is Purple Rain Stop. Let me see what Purple Rain Stop look like. See if that's what I'm gonna like this on. See, like I really like having my little swatches. Let's see what. This is Heavenly Hues. That's not what I'm looking for. Gilded Plum, Peppermint Twist. Boy, I love that Into the Blue. Every time I go through it. Purple Rain Stop. This is my colors for Purple Rain Stop. Let's try that. We'll start with that. I might add something. Remove my other color so I'm not corrupting my new color. And let's put some Purple Rain Stop down here. I'm going to add this with a blender. So I'm just going to create myself a little pool out here. And even though I'm putting it on with a blender, I'm going to put it on pretty richly. So I probably actually need more than that. Ooh, look at that. That's beautiful. Can you see that? Am I off the camera there? Look. Look at this that we got.
Oh, the blue on the side there.
Putting it right down over my stencil. Wow. Picked up a lot in my blender to start with. I'm going to have to put some more down already. Purple Rain Stop. It's that one. Now, if I get this done, I'm actually ending up with a really odd color where they're mixing. And if I get this done and I don't like it, I'll sprinkle some on top. But I don't want to get it too wet if I'm blending because I don't want it going under my stencil. That makes sense? I'm not sure some of these blended colors are as good as the kind of more solid colors for, but you know, you learn that. I'm not sure that these blended colors are quite as good for the dauber techniques as the more solid colors are. Because they blend together so much that maybe it might end up looking a little muddy. It's hard to tell. I'm trying to just kind of pick it up without mixing it too much in an attempt to get some of the true colors. I think what I'm going to do now is put just a light sprinkling of color over the top and see if I can get some of those pinks I was looking for. Because I don't seem to be getting a lot of pink. And I'm going to see if I can bring out a little bit of the pink by sparkling some on. Just sprinkling it in there. I'm going to put some just water down, a little bit of water on my pad and pick up a little water to try and activate those colors. Oh yeah, that's working to get some concentrations of color. Let's do that again. I like that where I'm getting a little bit more concentration of color and I'm just daubing on with water.
Slide your mat a little bit.
Oh, that's going to be more interesting, I think. Okay, don't want to overwork it because I don't want to get water under my stencil. Let's see what that looks like underneath. Now I got quite a bit of water under my stencil. This may be a die cutting one. Yeah, I think this is going to be a die cutting one. Because as I worked it, I got quite a bit of water under my stencil. I'm going to try this again, and we're going to do it with a solid color this time so I don't have to work it so much. Because that was kind of a fail, but it's never really a total fail because we can always use those for die cutting. And I'm going to show you some here in a bit that I took that were some of my fails, some of my scraps, and I die cut them up. Spritz both sides. Yeah, I probably would. I don't have any spray adhesive though in that. It would work probably better if I do that. Now green base is a mixed color. Into the blue is a mixed color. I want a color that's not so much mixed. Let's use this Fuchsia Rose. This is not such a mixed color. This is pretty concentrated color. I'm not washing the stencil, so I might end up with some interesting effects just from the color that's already on the stencil. Actually, if it has turned out like that, I would be really happy. I didn't like it so much, but you know, that's what this is all about. You know, you're working with a medium that is not 100% controllable, which is actually some of the joy of it. Yeah, I like this. Now I'm getting some concentrations of color, which is kind of what I wanted. And I'm not going to have to add extra water to it to try and get my colors to come through. And my colors staying true as I pick it up with my dauber. So I think this will work better. I have one that I did last night. It came out really, really good. I'll show you that one too. Sometimes it just doesn't want to come out just because you're showing somebody. You know how that works. But I have one I did last night that came out really good doing this technique. Okay, I'm not going to overwork it because I don't want to get water under my stencil. Let's see what happens. I still got water under my stencil. Well, I'm not going to throw this one away because it's beautiful and it will make some great die cutting. Let me show you the one that did work out. This is called the Fuchsia Rose. I actually kind of like the ghosted in pattern, but I'm going to use this for die cutting later. Let me show you the one I did last night because I want you to know the technique really does work. This is one I did with Teal Marine last night. One of the Jaimie Rogers stencils. So maybe I was still putting too much water in, and maybe I should have mixed my concentration a little more. That kind of looks like it, doesn't it? I probably needed less water and more concentrate. But I think this turned out beautiful. It's going to make a fabulous card. Okay, well, that's enough of that technique because that one just clearly doesn't want to work for me today. And that's okay. We're going to move on because I have many, many other techniques that will work for me today. I want to try something else that I thought of. I have not tried this one yet, so this will be an interesting test. I just thought of it last night. I'm going to get a clean piece of paper down. Yeah, I think the lines were larger in the other stencil. I think you were right about that, Annette. I have two sets of Jaimie stencils here, and I think I probably didn't want to do that. Let's set this aside. I think I just wanted to water the back of this because I'm going to try masking it. Put a little water down on my board. Lay my cardstock in it. I cut some die cuts last night, and I thought I'd try and see what happened if I put, stop it, if I put some masks down on my paper. I just use Post-it notes to cut these. I'm going to use a more concentrated formula this time too, because I think that's part of my problem is that I maybe had it too wet. So I'm going to use a more concentrated formula this time. I don't know how this is going to work out, but we're going to try.
Separate your paper after you put your stencil down so that it wouldn't seep underneath.
Maybe. Okay, let's just see what happens when we do this. I'm going to wipe this dauber off and choose a different color. I'll try purple. Purple always treats me well. Stop it. Now these are not real strong masks, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to put it on with a dauber again because I want to control the amount of water. I use some of my grape.
Alice says you can't go wrong with purple.
You never go wrong with purple, do you? I'll put that. I'm going to give it just a light spray. And let's see what happens if we get a little more concentration of color here around our masks. Now you can tell as I put this on that I'm putting it on fairly dry. There is not a lot of water here. And I'm hoping that that will help make sure that my masking works. Just an idea. Who knows? You know, you try stuff, see if it works. Sometimes I try stuff to see if it works before I see you. Sometimes we just work on it together. As I said, I've never been worried about a fail. Online, if anything, you learn what not to do. Actually, I can't say I've never been afraid of that. I used to be afraid of that. You guys have long since tamed me from being afraid of that because you're so generous about letting me try things. Get a little more purple down here. Running out of color. This is going to be pretty. No matter what happens, I think it's going to be a pretty background. I like the blues and the purples in it. Let's just see what happens. I don't know. Only a little water. Don't want to overwork them. It should look kind of neat and modeled, I think, too. We'll see. A little bit more. You make some of your most interesting discoveries when you fly by the seat of your pants, don't you, Annette? You really do. Just going to work on coloring some of these areas that didn't get color a little bit now. I don't mind if it looks a little mottled. I think I'm going to kind of like that. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Let's see what happens. My tweezers out here. Oh, I like this. I'm liking this, guys. This is going to be fun. I'm redeeming myself for my last fail. Come on. Those Post-it notes really stuck pretty good. That's how I use the all over Post-its. Wow, this is beautiful. This was just an idea. As I was packing up last night, I thought, I wonder what would happen if. And sometimes you just make really neat discoveries, and sometimes you go, oh, well, if you do that, it fails. I didn't have too many fails when I was working last night. I did have a couple. I'll show them to you. Okay. I love that. I totally love that. How beautiful is that?
Alice asked how you made your masks.
I just took one of my, this is a memory box die. I stacked up 3 Post-it notes, and I put my 2 dies on top of my little stack of all over, hi Diane, of all over Post-its, you know, they're sticky all over the back, the same ones I gave you in stamping class to mask with. And I cut my masks. Isn't that fun? I love that. That's a good one. That's a keeper. I want to show you this last one we did because as it's drying, it's actually doing some kind of interesting things. See how it's kind of ghosting in the background? It's actually kind of doing some interesting things there in that one that I thought was a fail. Okay, let's do something else. Let's do... Here's our other one that was a fail. Maybe it's not such a total fail. It's kind of an abstract. I think it's actually kind of pretty. Just kind of an abstract. All right, let's see. Put this tray down. All right, next. Let's see, what do we want to do? We are going to, we did the apply lightly. I want to do one sheet where we use one of the highlights. Now I told you that some of these don't have any color of their own or very little color of their own. Let's do one where we put it down just put the water on the board, but it doesn't seem to want to. There we go. Okay, where we put down a color and we can just do this spritzing on. We don't need to do any more. Let's do Teal Marine. I do like this color. I like some of the other colors too. Maybe I should do one I haven't done yet. Let's do a color we haven't done yet. But I do love that Teal Marine. It may still be that one. I just use...
That would be a great technique with a silhouette dye.
Oh yeah, that would. That would be really good. Let's use Peppermint Twist. What the heck? I want you to see how the color of this for something called Peppermint Twist, it is just odd. Let's use Peppermint Twist this time. Find that bottle. We might add something else to it. I also want to find the frosty one. Where is that? Here's frozen. This is called, this is the dye, by the way, that I used. It was called Blossom Branches. I think I had this on special a while back. Blossom Branches was the dye I used, number 94434. Okay. I haven't found Peppermint Twist yet. Where is that?
Alice says Green Bay is sold out in your store. Will you be getting more?
Oh, absolutely. I will get some very soon. I love that Green Bay. I will absolutely get some. Where's Peppermint Twist hiding? Zesty? I can't. As opposed to waiting to find it, I may just have to use a different color. There, no. Oh, that's the one we just used. Peppermint Twist. There it is. Okay, here we go. For something called Peppermint Twist. Check this out. I don't know where they came up with the name. I hear Peppermint Twist, I think reds and pinks and whites, you know? No. Not at all. Okay, we got a nice spritz, a nice covering there. Now, I did notice last night when I was using this that the Peppermint Twist seemed to be really early on. It wanted to lake. I don't know if that's the color. It just happens that that's what I did in each of them. Debbie, like a kid in a candy store. Yes, absolutely true. I love playing with Jaimie powders. I do, guys. It's something I must do. Now, we're getting some, Peppermint Twist actually has some black in it. So we're getting, or some deep purple maybe. I'm going to get my straw out here. See if we can kind of marble this thing a bit. And making those pretty blues run too. I'm going to add a little more color here and there because it looks like it needs a little more. Some of these areas that are kind of washed out a bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do with this one, and we might not be able to see the effects of this right away, but by the time, thank you, Catherine. I think you're very generous. We might not be able to see the effects of what I'm going to do next right away, but I've got some dry ones that I can show you that will get a similar effect. This frozen pearl has no color of its own on white. It's simply a mica dust to go over the top. And you might be able to see it as we work, especially if Bryce will come in really close. You might be able to see it as it goes on. But what I'm doing is covering my wet canvas, my wet paper, with a thorough sprinkling of this white. This is going to end up being an incredible color for like an Arctic scene. I think it will end up being a really pretty interesting color. I'll bring my tray to this because I do have a lot of water on it. And I don't especially want it to run. I may need an extra set of hands. You just hold my tray, please. And I'm going to pick this up and put it on top without moving it too far. So if you can just hold this here. We'll see. We'll come back to this and see how this dries. That's part of the fun, is it's like this constant state of discovery to see what this stuff does. So you can move it without moving those pools much. There we go. Just set it on top there for now. Just across those, that's fine, because those are dry. Thank you. Okay. I would have moved it on my own, but since I had an extra set of hands here, why not take advantage of that and not risk a problem? Okay, let's see what's next on my list. I am going to do an actual stamping. Let's see. How's my time? 3:11. We're only an hour in. I probably could.
Maybe you could show them, take a break and show a product or something you've done, something you finished. Make a tag in front of you.
No, we're going to do those. We're going to do those together. Okay, that's actually a good one to work on, though. Okay, I'm going to show you first where we're going. This is what we're going to make. That's actually a great idea. Let's go to one of our projects. This is what we're going to make. Okay, so, but we're going to use a different topper. In fact, we're going to use a different embossing folder too. One I have not used before, but it has turned out quite beautiful. This is the Memory Box Deep 3D embossing folder. I thought that would be really fun with flowers. Isn't that beautiful? This is called, yeah, it probably has a name. EF1005 Butterfly Gathering. It's the 3D embossing folder by Memory Box, or one of them. And I have already taken the time to emboss a couple of things for you to see. Come in closer, please. I want them to really see how deep this 3D is. See how deep that is? That makes this perfect. Beautiful, huh? And here's on black, which I'm going to use for my project. Okay, and instead of the flower vase, I thought I would bring out a treasure that is just not getting enough attention in our store. These are called landscapes. Landscapes. These are Hardy Craft 3Ds, and this is landscapes. Here's one. You guys can pick the color. Here's golden, that golden rose. We could definitely get some of that golden color going here in our butterflies. Here's pink. Look at these landscapes. Gorgeous. Hi, Diane. Okay, if you have a preference for a color, shout it out, because I'm going to jump right into things momentarily here. We have too much to do. What paperweight are you using? Here's the deal, Annette. When you are using a 3D embossing folder, spritz your paper before you put it in, which will allow the fibers to stretch, and then you won't get that ripple. I'm using regular, these are tags. These are tags out of the tag pack that we just brought in a while back. These are tags. They're about 80 plus pound card. They're pretty heavy. And this other, the white that I used, you'll recognize it. Here's the back, by the way. The deboss side is beautiful too. This is just my regular craft pad from Hunky Dory that I use all the time. This is the same one I'm using to dye my paper. Yes. If you, here's Lily. So if you will spritz your paper, you will have much better results. Okay, I'm going to get myself a water brush out here. And I want to, did you guys decide which one you want to use? Do you have a preference? I think this would look really pretty with the butterflies, but so would this, and so would this. So I'm just picking one unless I hear from you otherwise. I just want to see how high it's going to go and how much I want to paint, because there's no sense painting what it won't show. Okay, I'm going to get, and these black, these things here, my swatches are going to help me a great deal with this process where I'm coloring on black. knowing what different colors do on black will help me a lot in not being disappointed with my colorings.
Charm votes yellow.
Yellow? Yellow's good. We're on, Charma. You offered first. We're doing it. Charma's yellow. So I know that this color, this Coral Crush, shows up beautifully on black. So we're going to have some of that. Just looking for ones that will give me a real concentration of color. The teal, or the Teal Marine shows up nice on black. This one actually shows up pretty well in kind of a bronze color that might be pretty. Pumpkin Patch shows up. I want to point something out about this one. In Groovy Grape, this was one of our original colors. A lot of you guys probably have that already. From one angle, it's purple, and from the other angle, it's blue. There we go. So I'm definitely keeping that one out. And Green Bay was nice. Although I'm out of Green Bay, I shouldn't use it. But okay, I have plenty of colors now. I need some green.
Annette voted pink, and she says she's your twin.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put some color on my palette. I have decided that I'd like to have, I want just a number of different colors to use. I'm going to put down some Pumpkin Patch. I'm just going to create a palette right here on my board. I'm putting some Pumpkin Patch. I'm going to put some Zesty Lime because I'm going to need some green for my vines. I'm going to want some, the Fuchsia Roses in my stack. So I'm just creating my own watercolor palette here, aren't I? We definitely are going to want some kind of gold. And I think the most gold one we had was, it's not Boulevard Lights. Sunburst was the most gold we had, or the most yellow. I definitely am going to want to bring in that yellow. And, oh, I wanted some grape. I wanted some grape. I like that blue purple thing we get going with the grape. Okay, so I have a nice assortment of colors there. Lime, I got the red. The grape, pumpkin, teal. Did I do teal? I didn't do teal. I'm gonna add, nah, maybe not. I'm not sure I need teal. Okay, I got my water brush. I'm gonna go right with my water brush into my paint here. I'm gonna want this paint to be fairly thick. So I'm going to try and control how much water I put in it, which is always a challenge for me. I'll add more pigment if necessary because I really want my paint to be thick for this technique. Like Christmas when you get your packages from us. Okay, I'm going to pick up my tag here. I'm going to start with the butterfly. Now this is fairly easy to paint. I gotta say, you don't have to be an artist for this because it's so raised, right? It's so raised on the tag. I can always come in and put another layer if I decide I want to. But if I have plenty of pigment, I shouldn't have to do much repainting. Here's my grape, Groovy Grape butterfly. And he's going to be blue from one angle and purple from another, which is going to be just so cool. I don't know, I really, really like that. But I think we need to have some different colors of butterflies, don't you? I think we probably need a couple different colors at least. Now, right here next to my grape, I have a pretty vine coming up there. I think we need a little of this lime. Let's get some lime going here. I want my paint thick. Keep your paint thick. Let's come in here. I have a little leaf coming up right behind that butterfly. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh man, I want to paint another leaf, but I don't see too many. Actually, there are some leaves here. Here's one right behind my butterfly. And that actually almost looks like it's in some flowers there. I think I might want a different color for the little flowers. I do have a stem coming up behind my butterfly. Now these are not going to take long to paint because we're using, because we have our tag that's going to, our topper that's going to go on top. These landscape toppers are so pretty. And because we have so many pretty ones, they just haven't gotten attention. That's why I chose that one today, because I wanted you to see how beautiful they are. Here's another little leaf behind this butterfly. And I get a little, it's good we have a brief project here because it can't be a lot of fun watching me paint, but there we go. Those are the beginnings of our tag. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I'm going to change colors again here. I'm going to go to this Sunburst yellow because I definitely think we want to pull in some of that color from our topper that we're going to put on top. Let's get some of that beautiful. Oh, you know what? I think I just picked up pumpkin patch. I sure did. I'm going to mix those. Why not? I'm going to mix the Sunburst and the pumpkin. We might get something really cool. Okay. I have a little tiny butterfly right here I'm going to hit. A little butterfly there. We actually have something that looks like blossoms up here. I'm going to hit that with the yellow and just see what we get. Some kind of blossoms behind the butterfly. And there's something that's got little, probably would have been good to treat it like a hydrangea or something, but I'm doing it in yellow because why not? We got some little blossoms happening there. And I'm going to put a little bit more yellow on this butterfly to distinguish him from the green leaf. We have those little blossoms up at the top. They're very nondescript. I'm not sure how they'll look on our finished tag, but you know, you try stuff and then you know. All right. I think maybe red for this butterfly at the top. Why not? Because we still have things, we still have colors on our palette that show pretty on the black. Get a nice deep red for this butterfly. Okay. All right, so let's paint this big butterfly that's kind of going off the edge of our tag in this red. Ooh, that's pretty.
Actually, hold it so I can zoom in.
Huh?
Hold it so I can zoom in so they can see.
Those flowers are really nondescript at the top. If I had those to do again, I'd probably do them in purple. I may still go over it with purple, actually, because they kind of almost look like they could be like hydrangea or something back there. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I have one more butterfly. Let's see if it's even going to show. It's not even going to show. So what else have I got? I've got one more butterfly to do. I think I just can't help myself, guys. I'm doing it in purple. I just need to. But then I said I might go over this other bush back here. No, I am going to do it in purple. And then I'm going to come in and go over that part I did in gold that didn't turn out bright enough. I'm going to do that in green and treat it like leaves. Now I have, there's some little dots on here, just little dots. When this is dry, I'll wipe off all the extra glitter. I have some little dots I'm going to do in this orange. Just little dots here and there. That will look pretty colored. Just to pick up a little bit of color. A little bit more color. Put a tiny little butterfly down here.
Say hi to Kemar.
Hi, Kemar. We're playing with watercolors and tags, and it's really fun. It's really fun. Okay, I'm going to get some green and treat that in the back like leaves. So I'm going to come in here to this lime. I'm mixing my colors really thick for what I'm doing here because I really want them to show on this background. So I'm coming in here. Yeah, this yellow is going to look a lot better when I treat it like a leaf back there. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just treating it like a leaf. Okay. I don't have much more to color. I could put I do have another leaf here that could show. Oops, screwed that up. I think I can wipe it right off though. Yeah, I kind of slopped over a little bit. I took a baby wipe and wiped it right off. There you go. Now you know. You can do that. I'm here for you. I'll show you all the ways you can screw up, what you can do to fix it, because I'm here for you. Okay, I got a little bit of a leaf there. I got another little butterfly here. I'm going to do him in red to pull in with that other red one I have. I'm doing this rather quickly. If I was doing it myself later, it might take a little bit more time, but I'm going to make part of this butterfly right above here, right above my tag shows. I'm not sure how high we're going to want to put our tag, so I'm going to color this butterfly orange. Why not? He's going to be orange. Mix your paint real thick for this. because we really want those pigments to show and the pearlescence to show against our black card. Give that just a little bit more. Isn't this neat how this works out, guys? Now, those of you who have Jaimie powders in your cupboard, and I know there are a lot of them, get those out. Get your embossing folders out, and let's do some pretty tags. Okay, I think I'm ready to attach. I'm gonna get, well, I think I'll put my flowers on with some foam squares behind it, because why not? Dimension is good. Okay, so let's put that landscape tag on. Part of that butterfly gets covered up, but part of it shows. Here are our tags, guys. Can't see very well through my bottle. There we go. Oh, I just set it in my paint. Fun, huh? You guys like that one? Okay, let's try a little bit of watercoloring right on our white. I just wanted to contrast. We're not going to do an awful lot of this, but I just want to contrast putting the watercolor on white. So we know we got some nice leaves here. Probably don't have to go as concentrated with your paint on white as we were on black, but I'm just going to use the paint I've already mixed up instead of wasting it. So,
Hi, Betty McSorley.
Hello, Betty McSorley. Welcome, friend.
She was home from surgery.
Good for you. I'm so glad you're home and it all went well, Betty. So, of course, you could do the same thing with a white tag that we just did with our black tag. Oops, I'm clear off camera. Tell me when I'm off camera, honey. Okay. A little green up here above my butterfly. Okay. We're just going to contrast this with what we just did. I had a little bit of green left in my brush, and I didn't clean it out thoroughly, so I'm getting kind of a golden color for this butterfly, which is actually quite pretty. Now I don't think there's any reason why this wouldn't work. I should be able to get some orange and touch in here. Just a little bit orange and touch into my butterfly. Maybe even a little bit of red. Just get creative and have fun with it. There we go. I'm not going to spend a lot of more time on this coloring on the white because we already did all the black. I see one place I didn't finish, and it just needs to be finished because that surrounds the butterfly. I already did. This is actually fairly easy coloring to do because everything's raised. Okay, so going through my list here, we have so far sprinkled and spritzed on white, sprinkled and spritzed on black. We've sponged off so we can get those pastel colors underneath. We've looked at our color swatches. We've applied with a blender. We've applied with a blender and added pearl. We have applied with a blender through a stencil. We have applied over die cuts. We have painted an embossed image. Next, before I move on, I want to show you another project. While we still are on the theme of painting, these are star form stickers. So I'm going to quickly paint in a star form sticker using any color that I want. So I just want you to see how easy and how beautiful it is to paint in through these stickers. Look how fast and easy this is, guys, because the sticker guides your brush. The sticker guides your brush. It's going to be kind of a harlequin type pattern, I think. So we're painting over stickers with our Jaimie powders. I've already created a background for my egg. Okay, I think I'll take some purple here. Why not put purple and green together? They're good colors together. The nice thing is you don't have to worry about the colors blending into each other because that sticker's acting as a barrier to having these colors just roll together. Okay. If I knew more about this pattern, I would probably know more about how to color it. But I just picked one. So I'm now going to use the Sunburst. And I'm going to paint some of these little swirlies in that golden yellow color. Because why not? Why not? I can color them any way I want. And some blue. Regular blue or teal, maybe teal. So clearly you can make your own pearlescent watercolors. I still had some golden in there, so my teal might look a little green.
Totally looks green.
Yeah, it does. But that's okay. Just a demo. use that one. What's that? Beyond Blue. Sure I don't have, oops, I'm running out of water. Might be time to quit soon. I'm running out of water in my pan. Not quit everything, just quit this. Because some of the most exciting stuff is yet coming. Don't give up on me yet, guys. There's some of the most exciting stuff is still coming up.
Can I ask what kind of stickers those are?
Starform stickers. These are Easter eggs. Which are neat because they come with a pretty little stand to stand it on. They've already peeled it and put it on the stand waiting for me to finish my egg. Let's see if I have another water brush here. Will you please fill this up with some water for me? I'm going to go ahead and cut this out while we wait. So Starform stickers, all of the images just work beautifully. And even though like this, the frozen pearl doesn't have any color of its own, imagine what it would look like if you were painting in like a snowman with it. It looked beautiful. Just in the nick of time, he's back with my brush. No, he's not. He's still in there. I thought he walked back in. Okay. You get like 6 of those stickers to a page. Oops. A sticker I put on when this paper was damp. It might not stay. Might have to glue it. That's okay. I'll put a dab of glue on the back of here. I don't know if it's from the sparkles or if it's from the fact that my paper may have been damp when I put it on. But my sticker's lifting. So I'll just put it back. Right in the center. You can reactivate these Pixie Sparkles, so if they dry out on your canvas, you don't have to wipe them off, just add a little water. And they're ready to go again. All ready to go again. I'm just kind of coloring any color right now. I'm just trying to get this done at this point, but I don't want to leave it half finished. It's still going to be pretty, but odd choices of colors, perhaps. If you want pastel colors, just use less pigment, more water. Deeper concentration of color, just use more pigment, less water. Okay, let's put this on. I'm going to glue this down since it's already supposed to be in a holder. Oh, really? Did I actually miss a bunch of spots? It appears I did. Okay. When I picked this up and look at it from an angle, I wasn't close enough to some of my lines, so you'll have to watch that too, since the lines are holding everything up there, you know, keeping you from going too far over. You have to kind of angle your brush a little bit to get in right next to the lines, so that's good to know. All right, this is our last painting project. Then we're going to do something really exciting. Do not leave us yet, because next we're going to talk about Elsie's card, and we're going to make Northern Lights. Okay, I need a little piece of gold, Mary, and I need a little piece of purple. I've already made these last night. I'm going to put, wow, that was really close. I thought that was going to be extra over. It was not. That was really close. I'm going to glue this to a piece of mirror board and trim around it. Ah, just stuck my thumb in the glue. It's not the worst my hands have been through in the last 24 hours. Glue down, glue down. If this was my only project today, I would take lots more time with it, but I just want to show you how to finish it off. I'll put a little pretty little banner across the top of my tag. I'm going to put some words on it. I couldn't find my Happy Easter when I was looking last night, so I'm just going to put whatever I want on here. How about thinking of you? I can be thinking of you at Easter. These are the little, what are these called? It's number 2402, I believe, from Dazzles, and they're the tiny words and phrases. Oops, I have to put that on straighter. Thinking of you. Okay, go ahead and put this on. Plenty of glue under here since it's going in the shimmer powder. Whoa, that really runs. Thinking of you. There we go. You know how I made my tag. Although I will say this tag right here, I did in lime and then I covered it with the pearl powder. So look at the color of this tag. See the pearlescent shine just going crazy there? There we go. And here's a couple other samples. This one said Easter Blessings and had the little tulips on it. This one says Easter Blessings and has the little tulips on it. Or those aren't tulips, those are what? I don't know. You guys can tell me. Bluebells, maybe? But there we go. Aren't those cute? Okay. Let's see how our tag is doing now that it's dry. Beautiful on our black. All right, I'm going to move some pieces out here so we can move on to our next project, because next we're doing Elsie's Northern Lights. We're going to do Elsie's Northern Lights. And I'm going to clean off my board just a bit, remove my paint palette. Water soluble, you can pick it right up even if it's dry. I had really concentrated paint here, so there's a lot of it hanging on. It only takes a tiny bit to make these paint palettes too. I mean, this stuff just goes and goes and goes. A bottle, you guys know how much I have used my Jaimie powders, right? I mean, I've done 2 classes before on Jaimie powders, and this is class number 3. And you know how much I use purple. I'm still on my first bottle of purple. Okay, I want to show you something on my computer. So let me get it up and going here. Bryce, if you back up just a little so they can see the screen. The computer's starting up, so it's taking a second. Okay. Can you get up? Let's see, maybe I can come forward with this. I want you guys to see the screen of the actual Northern Lights. This is video of the Northern Lights. Compliments of YouTube. Oh, there they go. This is the actual Northern Lights over Norway. Okay, so now I want to show you what I made last night. My representation of said Northern Lights, and then we're going to do it together because I used a different technique. Here's one of the Northern Lights. We're doing the Northern Lights paper today, and next week we're going to make it into a card for Elsie. So there's one of my Northern Lights, and here's my second version of the Northern Lights, my interpretations of what they look like. I want to go to Norway and see them after seeing that video. So I think that's not a bad interpretation of what we just saw on video. Let's do it together. We're going to get some cardstock out here. This is using yet a different technique than you've seen before. Have you guys noticed I have lots of new things for you today? I hope you've noticed that, because we didn't do most of these things the last time I did Jaimie. Okay. I want, the one thing that was very clear to me is it's mostly needs to be green. And I also want a little of that pearl, that frosty pearl. I've got them, frozen pearl. I've got them all knocked over here now, but it's okay. I actually seem to be finding things easier, so maybe I shouldn't have knocked them over a while ago. I'm going to spritz my paper pretty good. I want it spritzed front and back everywhere. I do not want my paper rolling on me because this is kind of a wet technique. Okay, here we go. I want good concentrations of color. Right? And then what I did was take my finger to create that softness. I used my finger to create the softness. It is necessary. We'll add more powder because it really wants a concentration of color, is my impression. But by using your finger to run that around, or you could use a big brush if you're squeamish about getting your fingers dirty. That has never been something I've worried about. I think I liked it better before I did that. But that's not a problem. And the other thing I saw in that, I didn't necessarily see as much of it in this video as some of the others. I did my research, is that there were places where actual lights, white lights, showed up on the edges. White concentrations of white in the bands of green. I'm really liking the flow on this side. This side is just a little too, it needs to kind of go off the edge there, I think. And this is my Zesty Lime again. I'm going to brighten it a little bit over there. I want it to go off the edge on this side because I think the roll back there was a little weird. But there's places where it just looks like the sky is just light. And then places where it's pretty white. And if we wanted to, we could actually sprinkle just a little extra powder here and there, just to represent that the sky is just lighted up with them. Remember, we're probably only going to be able to use just a small piece of this, but we can get the brightness. And what I wanted to point out in making this one was getting the swirls with your fingers. So I'm going to actually connect those two. Okay, so let's look at the dry ones again. So this is what we're going to use. For Elsie's Northern Lights card. So we're moving on. We're going to show the Northern Lights through a window. That's what we're going to see.
Debbie, can you believe we've been chatting Simply Special Friends for 2 years?
Yeah, April of 2000.
She says May.
Yeah, Kim joined us in May, but April of 2000 is when we started doing our live streams. Bryce will never forget the day I came in to say, honey, You know how we've been talking about trying live stream? We've been talking about it for a year. Figure it out, honey. We're going live on Saturday. Oh, the things I put this man through, and he loves me anyway. Okay. I have on here to try stamping, but I think I'm going to skip that for right now because we have to look at doing glue and paste. This is not new, but it's just one of the most impressive things that we can do. So some of you have seen this before. I'm going to get myself some glue. We can do, usually I use Cosmic Shimmer glue, but I have these bottles of tattered lace glue that I have had since the earth was cooling, and they're pretty thick and I can't use them in my little glue bottles anymore. So I am using them for my glue technique. Now, what I'm doing here, in case you have not seen this before, is I am going to create a surface for my Pixie Sparkles to stick to. And so I'm going to put this glue down on my acetate. I've got a half sheet of acetate here. I'm going to put this glue right down on my acetate. There we go. And I just cover it. Just cover my acetate. Next, I'm going to take some colors that I like. I'm going to take, there's so many colors I like. Let's do this. Is it Into the Blue that was my favorite one? New one? Let me look. We've done a good job of trying so many different colors. Into the Blue, that's the one I want. Into the Blue. I could mix colors, I could do all I want. I'm going to put a nice covering of my Into the Blue over this. And I think, both in the interest of time and not making a bunch of choices, and because I love these colors in this Pixie Sparkle, I'm just going to do the whole thing into the blue. We'll have to wait until next week to see what it looks like, but I will show you some I did last night. And like I said, I'm getting a nice concentration of color on here. I wouldn't have to put this much if I don't mind having spaces. And you'll see why spaces can actually be good. When I show you the dried samples momentarily. So I'm just shaking it liberally all over this glue. What's happening is that this glue is going to create a base that my Pixie Sparkles will stick to on acetate. They come out very slowly in some shakers, and then some shakers come out really fast. This one's much slower. Some of them just come whipping right out of the bottles. Okay, here we go. Gonna spritz that a little bit, let it work. Come on in close so they can see this working on the. Don't want too much water on it, but I do want to get some water to it. That way I can see where I'm great and where I might want a little extra. You can see the color starting to intensify and blend. You see what those purples are doing in there with the blue? This is going to be gorgeous, guys. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to grab my tray, bring it in to pick this up. Let's see if I can do it without calling very silver this time. Knocked my tweezers on my floor. Knocked my palette knife on my floor too. Okay. I'm going to pick this up by the corner of my acetate. Try and keep it as flat as possible. And move it over there. There we go. Okay. We've done that technique now. We've put down glue on our acetate. Let me clean this off and I'll grab a couple of dried samples for you to see. Margie was teasing me last night when I said I was going to have some samples dry to show you. She said, if you do that, you have to say, through the magic of television. I said no. Obviously, I said it. So she wins. Here's one that's finished, guys. This is what it looks like when it dries. This is the back side, which is also very pretty. But this is what it looks like when it dries. And if you really want to take it up a notch, come in real close if you would. Put some mirror board behind it. Isn't that amazing? So with the mirror board behind it, that's what I meant by it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing if it has some little bare spots here and there, because the mirror is going to show through it. Isn't that amazing? Now, did you know that you could do that by just taking a piece of acetate, smearing it with glue? Your Cosmic Shimmer glue will work just right. And every color does this. It's glorious. I believe that I have a couple of examples right here in the front of my box from our last class. I don't know if we're going to get to it today. Well, here, let me show you the technique I'm talking about first. Here's one that was done in red, reds and pinks. Using the same technique. Here's another reds and pinks. I think I might have given away the blue ones. Oh, here's one. Here's one done in blues. This is just done in white. Here's one done in reds and oranges with gold mirror board behind it. I'm going to show you some of my butterfly cards here. Oh, different technique. Here's a blue with white behind it. Why not? I think that might work really well, Annette. Uh, is there a metallic gold powder to mix in with the colors? Yes, there is. It's called Molten Gold, and it's available. I can show it to you on the color swatch. All of these are done using that technique of just smearing the acetate with glue and sprinkling the powders on top and letting them dry. All of these were done that way. And you get such deep, rich colors, especially if you put the mirror board behind it. But like I said, I did a bunch of these on white so you could see what it looked like both ways. Isn't that fun? Here's the one with gold behind it. Glorious. This is just on white. And look at the sparkle in this, guys. See if I can get it at a camera angle that will let you see the sparkle. The camera's deceptive in a way because these are way more sparkly. There you go. There you can see it. Can you see the sparkle in it now? See the sparkle in those? That's using that glue technique I just showed you. Now, I want to talk about another technique or two. How long we got, huh?
4:50.
Okay. I don't think we're going to get to stamping today. So I'm going to refer you back to my video on stamping. I'll link that one also when I do your newsletter today. You can do some absolutely, card shifted in my box here. You can do some absolutely fabulous things with Jaimie powders and stamps. For this, I'm using the butterfly set from Hot Off the Press. That is not centered even still. Oh, maybe I just did it that way. This is using the butterfly set from Hot Off the Press. And then I created a background in similar colors. Let me show you another stamping one. I know I had some in here. Here we go. I created my background paper, and this is done with stamps. Get those Jaimie powders out, guys. They're fabulous. Look here, you don't just have to use open or just silhouette designs. Look at this. It's done with Jaimie powders and stamps, and I have a whole video that will show you how to stamp with Jaimie powders. I'm going to link you to that in my newsletter today. Here's another one. This almost looks like our Northern Lights card right here, doesn't it? That green mirror board and that lime. The powders are all sold individually, Kim. And I'll go through just before we finish today, I'm going to go through the color swatches one more time so you guys can make your choices of which powders you'd like. This video is very, very good on how to do these. And the butterfly stamps from Hot Off the Press are absolutely perfect for this technique. Okay, so that is stamping with Jaimie powders. I'm not going to take the time to do it today because I can refer you to a video where I have very complete instructions. Okay, next technique I want to show you is using another medium. Okay. I'm going to get my stencils back out here. Let's see. These Jaimie scents of stencils are beautiful. I'm going to use the lilies for this one. I'm going to put my lily down with my magnets. You can use washi tape or low tack tape at the edges of your stencil. Make sure you fasten it down good. I know I have 4 magnets. I don't know what I did with the 4th. How did I lose one? I don't know. That's weird. It was just there. I hope it's not on my computer. Let's just check that before we move on. It was on my computer. And I went right over the top with my computer. We don't want magnets on computers. Okay, so I'm glad I found it. Hopefully it didn't do any damage. I've got a palette knife. I've got I just used up the last of my texture paste last night, so I'm opening my second ever jar of texture paste, and I have made a lot. Sleep well, Elsie. Thank you. I needed to wear a blouse that didn't matter if I got my sleeves into my work, because I'm known for doing such things. So I wore a dark blouse that I could get away. Oh, thank you, Sharma. I love doing Jaimie powders. I truly, truly do. Okay, so this paste that I'm using, it's called Texture Paste Transparent Gloss. We have it in the store from Ranger. It is a white powder. Comes in a jar. I think I'm actually going to use my plastic spatula, because I noticed last night I kept getting my metal one hooked up on my magnets. And I'm going to get a little bit of this texture medium, and I'm going to put it down on my cardstock. It doesn't take much, as you can see. It really doesn't take a lot, but I do want to make sure that I fill all the images. So look at it from an angle and make sure you get texture paste everywhere, because you want a nice full image. I want to make sure that all of the openings have a little texture paste. So look at it from an angle, make sure everything is glossy. That's looking good. That's looking very good now. Okay. All right. And see, I'm still picking some up. I didn't use that much. Now I'm going to put down some colors. I should have decided what colors I wanted before, but I'm just going to kind of go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I already used that one. Flirty Sky. I don't know I've done much with Flirty Sky, so Flirty Sky is it. That's what I'm going to use. I could use more than one. Okay, let's get a little water on there, just a little. Let those sprinkles react. Then we can decide if we want more. just a little water on it. I'm going very lightly with my spritzes. I'm going to put a little more powder on. I think I want a little more color. Come and clear out to the edges with it. Okay. I'm going to give it just, yeah, this spritzer I'm using, this is one from Couture Creations. I believe we have them. I don't know with certainty, but you want a microfine spritzer. You really want a spritzer that will give you a fine mist, not a heavy mist, because too much water is not your friend in this process. Just dropped one of my samples on the floor. Too much water is not your friend. But I can spritz it and okay. This is going to continue reacting for a while. In the interest of time, though, I'm going to remove my magnets. I did get a second piece of card out. I'm going to lift my stencil. Here's my flirty sky. This is going to dry more colorful than it looks because the white dilutes the color, but that's going to dry clear. Okay, so that's going to be more colorful when it's dry than it looks like right now. Now, I have this stencil that is just covered with that paste. We don't want to waste that. I'm going to spritz on my card on the back. I should have done that on that last one, and I didn't. I'm going to spritz my card on the front. And I'm going to lay my stencil into it. I'm going to take a piece of scratch paper, which I did not set out, bless my heart. I hate to waste good card, but I guess I might have to. Oh, I'll just do it. I have a piece of black here I'll waste. I'm going to rub this down really good. Okay. Lift this off. Lift this off. And this is my second print. Off of the stencil. So I need trays.
I'm heading to the craft room to play with Jaimie hours after this.
Okay. I have to move some of these things because I'm out of drying space.
We're out of time.
No, we're not quite out of time yet. I actually have a couple more things left. Now, I want to show you what the second print looks like dry. By the way, here's our dry purple from earlier. How beautiful is that? Look at those mottled shades of purples and violets. Is that beautiful? That's gorgeous. That was a fun technique. Okay, let's see. What have I got here? Oh, that's one I just did. That's one I just did. Okay, let's see what I've got for second printings to show you. Sure, I did some. Just got to find them. Here's a second printing from last night. It's dry. I don't know if you can catch the pearlescence. Yeah, you're getting it. That's the second printing. This was the second printing. This was the second printing. These are both second printings. So don't forget to use your second prints. All right. Now, we're going to do this technique again, but this time we're doing it on acetate. Wind my stencil down good. This time we're doing it on acetate. These Jaimie stencils have a lot of open space, as you've seen, but they also are very thick material, thicker than normal stencil material, which I appreciate. Okay, let's get a piece of acetate out here. I'm going to actually cut this because I'm down to a minimum of drying space, and I might as well not have to store twice as large a sheet. So let's take that off. I'm going to put my stencil and my acetate down. This works better. I tried it with the glue, and while I'm convinced if your glue was thick enough, it probably could be done, the glue was still a little too watery to be successful with this technique. So I recommend using the texture paste. You can try it with your glue if you have some really thick stuff. It is a really nice way to use up really thick glue. But I found much greater success with the stencil and using this Ranger texture paste, which is not overly expensive, and it goes a long, long way. Now it's easier on the stencil to see that I got all of my areas covered. See that? Because when it's white, it's done. So get in all those spaces. I did do this once and forgot to put the acetate under it. That's not good. I did at least have the presence of forethought to lift it up and put a piece of paper over the top so I could capture a first print off of my board. Don't forget to put your acetate in there. Learn from my mistakes. Like I said, I'm here for you guys. Now, I'm not worrying about getting it on the edges. I'm not worrying about how much is left on my stencil because that second print will be beautiful. I'm also not into wasting my material, so, I'll pick up the big globs, but okay. So I think we have a nicely finished, I did till I scraped it off, pretty nicely finished piece here. I'm going to put my texture paste back in my jar because I love this stuff and don't want to waste even the littlest bit. Okay. And this time I'm going to use Groovy Grape. I'm going to use some blue. I'm going to use some Green Bay. That should be plenty. I'm going to sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. I'll get some Green Bay in right away, guys. Assuming the distributors have it, and I think they will. Putting some nice Green Bay down. Nice. Thank you for taking me off the hook, Roberta. Roberta says that's something she would do, get to put the acetate under it. Yeah, imagine my shock when I pulled up the stencil and there was nothing to lift up. I may skip the blue. I'm kind of liking the way this purple and green are working together. In some of the Jaimie presentations online, I like his presentations. He has fun, exciting ideas, and a lot of the ideas I'm sharing with you today came from Jaimie Rogers. A couple are of my own device, and some came from Ecstasy Crafts in a class I took with them. But Jaimie will mix up like all 8 and 10 colors at a time. That's not my style. I tend to like my colors a little more clean than that. But it's a matter of personal choice. I am letting this process for a second. Maybe give it just one more spritz. Look at the colors coming out. Can you see that? That burst of color? Let's talk about the fact that there are other brands of this same product. There is Ken Oliver Color Bursts, speaking of bursts of color. We have some wonderful powders by Nouveau. Everybody claims that they have the most mica. I actually think Pixie Sparkles does have the most mica, but the Nouveau ones are very, very nice too. Just one more spritz. Really let those colors work. I don't want to create a lake on top. Okay. I'm liking this a lot. I think this is going to be pretty. Let's go ahead. Get in here. If I can lift to the corner of my acetate without... Oh, actually, I want my stencil first. Shoot, that's what I didn't want to do. I did not want to slide my stencil, which I just did, which may impact my finished product just a little, but you know what you want to watch out for. Actually, it looks pretty good still. Here is my acetate. Right now, it just looks all white on the back, but oh, when it dries, it will be magnifique. Okay. I got to get my second print out here. Second print off of this stencil. Put my cardstock down. Lay my stencil on top. I'll use my direction sheet. I have some of all of them. The Color Burst powders did not tend to have mica in them. The Ken Oliver, and there's times it's even pretty where it it's like a third print. Ken Oliver was the creator of Color Burst. Interesting. Here's our second print. Remember, this is going to look much brighter when it dries because right now we have the white in it. I'm just curious because it still looks like there's a lot of stuff on here. I think I want to know what would happen with the third print. Looks like there's still a lot on there. Might not be. I don't want to use that same one. Darn it. I really needed to bring some scratch paper over here today. I didn't. I can use the other side of this later though. Not much on there. I can definitely reuse that cardstock. Nope, there's not much to it. But I wanted to make sure I wasn't losing anything. So I'll reuse the other side of that. Let's clean up my stencil. And let's look at some samples we did before using stencils. This is one that I did using stencils in our last class. And then, just for fun, my background, hi, Paula. Just for fun, my background papers in this one were handmade Jaimie papers too.
We don't know who this is.
Here comes Bob too. Say hi to Bob and Paula. Paula is Bryce's sister, as you know.
Hello.
And Bob just came in. He just got a beautiful new haircut. You look quite dapper.
Yes.
This is using a second print.
I hired two guys to pull my pants up.
Uh-oh. Took two guys to do that?
Isn't that pretty for a second print, guys? That's just using the leftover that was on the stencil. Here's another one done on stencil. Now this time, instead of using the front of the stencil,
We'll go in.
you guys are fine.
Oh, okay.
Instead of using the front of the stencil, I used the more powdery looking back of the stencil.
Let's sit over here.
So you get a very pearlescent rather than sparkly image from the back, using the back of the stencil.
Here or here?
See these lettering here? This was from a fail. I didn't like it. Oh, they want to know if Bob's going to let them see him.
Oh.
They
go-
want to see how dapper you look, Dad. Can
Go
you walk
behind
over
Debbie,
here
Dad.
behind me?
Go walk behind Debbie.
They want to see you. And then maybe you can go on big screen for a second. Yeah, I want you to come right here behind me,
You got my money?
or right beside me.
You got enough money, he said.
There we go. There he is.
Say hi, Dad.
There's our dapper guy, except yeah, there we go. Got to raise it a little bit. Can't see his haircut. There we go.
All right.
Look, you're on TV, Dad. You see that? Look straight out.
Pretty handsome.
He's a handsome guy for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you for dropping by. Okay.
Come
So-
over here, Dad.
All right. Now let me show you some more. This is done with paste on cardstock. Then I just used a little piece of my solid Jaimie. Thelma said, wow, and I'm single. So's he.
There's a woman who says she's single, Dad.
And they say that's a great looking haircut. Mary R says it. Thelma says it. Diane said it. So everybody said it was. Laura said it. There, Adeline said it. Good looking
Wow.
haircut. So this is the paste on cardstock. Betty Gosel said handsome. Okay.
You're hitting.
This is, remember I showed you that one a
Reviews.
minute ago where I used the back of the card at the back of my acetate. This time I used the front of the acetate. You can see the difference in the sparkle between the two. Or maybe you can't. It's kind of hard. Can you come in? Well, let's see. You can't really get in any closer. Well, let me show them to you one at a time. The pearlescent finish from the back. And you'll see what I'm talking about. When you lift your stencil and then it dries, it looks very pearlescent from the back. But this is what you get from the front. See the sparkles? See if we can get to where we see some sparkles here. This is extremely sparkly. I wish I could get it at an angle where you could see the truth. There we go. See the green up there? See how sparkly that is? There you go, honey. Good camera work. Thank you. Yeah. I have to get it. There we go. Just trying to get it at an angle where they can see how sparkly it is. There might be a trust me factor here. You can't see it on the green, but the red is just as sparkly. So this again, see here on this was one of my fails. I cut out, you can see little bits of blue on there. I cut them up and made them into my greetings. Another one done on cardstock. And I think this was one of my fails. I took one of the best pieces off a failed piece and created a layer out of it. This one I got a little carried away with the color, but I like it. It's different. I liked it better once I put the green on it. That's when you can really see the sparkles, can't you? Mirror board plays really well with this, by the way. You know, because you get the two different textures. Mirror board and Jaimie powders look great when you put your cards together. And this was painted through a stencil last time, so I guess I did do a little of that last time. I didn't remember it. Okay, so there's some finished samples of those. Now let me consult my notes and see how far off we are from being done. Texture paste, apply to glue. Okay, I have basically one technique left. How much time have I got, honey?
15 minutes.
I have 15 minutes. That's okay. In 15 minutes, we can finish this last one. I have to make some papers for a project we're doing next week. So we're going to make some papers real quick here. You can use the right colors together, Mary, but if you mix the wrong colors too much, sometimes you can overwork it and you can get mud. If you have some separation of colors, you can use almost any colors together on this. But it's always possible to get mud if you overmix. And you've seen me do a little of that, so I've kind of prepared you for that.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin my stencil, so I'm going to quickly wipe it off here. May have already let it sit too long. It won't ruin it, it'll just be colored. That's not bad. Yeah, if you overmix, you can get mud. But if you don't mix your colors too much, you run into that more when you're blending. When you're using a blender, you want to try not to overmix some of the blended colors because they can get muddy. All right, we're done with stencils. We're done with everything except we're really going to get messy now. This is my final hurrah for messiness. Are you ready? I'm going to grab one of my trays, if I still have one, because it's a good tool for this. An old cookie sheet you're no longer using in the kitchen would be a good tool here. Oh, this one.
Still Bryce's cookie sheet.
No, he would
Or
know.
Lauren's.
He made me buy my own, so I have these like lunch trays. There's that one again. Wowzer, I love that. And look at this one I called a fail. I actually think this is pretty cool. I'm probably going to cut a strip using that faded piece somehow, because that's kind of cool. All right, let's see. Dry stuff. All right, here we go. This is dip and drag. Dip and drag. I want to make some papers so we can make this card next week. And I want to use Jaimie powders for it. I also have this one I want to make next week. And I want to use Jaimie powders for that. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to dip and drag. You don't really have to. I guess I could cover it. I think I covered it here. I could dip and drag my entire card blank, but I'll probably have more control if I just make some pieces and put them on. So I'm going to need at least 2 8x8s just for this. So I've set those out. And this one, I just need a couple of 6x6s. So I'm going to start with my Teal Marine because I love it. And I really like that color for my, I really am going to start with Teal Marine. That's Green Bay. Where's my teal? Oh, if you could see the mess of colors I have on my table with all the bottles having fallen over. Okay, Teal Marine. I'm going to start with my Teal Marine. And it's really fun when you're doing dip and drag to use more than one color. I want some fairly intense color in these, so I'm going to put down a fair amount of color. I'm going to spritz it. I'm going to take that piece of cardstock I used a minute ago, and I might just as well. It's just as the name implies. I'm going to dip and drag. Didn't get it quite enough water on there to get a really good dip and drag going. I'm going to add some more water to it. I should have spritzed both sides of my card because see how my card was rolling up on me there? Oh yeah. Now I'm getting some good color. Oh, I do like that. I'm going to do both sides of my paper because sometimes I find I like the back side better. So I'm going to dip and drag. I'm going to get where I was holding it there too. You can get some really, really neat patterns by letting this run when you do it. And you just get some things going. Now what's really fun, and I have to do it, I just have to, is we have to get a little more color in here just to see what happens when you get two colors. But I chose blue, and blue just takes over. I probably should have chosen a different color because blue really does take over. And blue's still going to work out okay for my card I want to do. I'm going to let this run a little bit because I kind of like that look. Okay, I'm going to need can you sort these over here and get me a dry tray or two, or maybe move a couple of these things into the windowsill so I have a place to put my papers to dry. I have nowhere to go with this paper in my hand, so I'm just going to sit here. La-di-da, la-di-da. I actually like the way it's turning out. These are going to be beautifully pearlescent when they're done. Thank you. to set it on. Is everything safe on top? Yeah, I think everything's safe on top. Except, yeah, don't set it on that one in the back. Okay, let's put some purple in here. Yes, it will help with the paper curling. And it doesn't seem to impact the ability to dry. It'll take longer to dry. But it doesn't seem to impact the ability to dry. You can drag both directions. The more you drag, the more the colors are going to mix. It's kind of fun. Do this again. I'll put a little more water down too. This is a big water technique here. One of the things that can be fun is to create some stripes to your paper. I really am finally going to run out of purple, I think. It can be fun. Yeah, I didn't spritz the back and it's curling on me. So I'm going to spritz it now. Okay. I'm going to pull my paper and I'm going to pull it straight towards me in an effort to get some stripes of purple. I don't think I had enough purple on my board. It just mixed in, and I'm using blue, and blue takes over. So let's get some more purple going here. I might have to wipe some of the blue off in order to be able to see the purple, because the blue just takes over everything. This looks like a very messy process, and it is. It's also great fun. It's great fun. The more I go back and forth, the more my colors are going to mix. I'm going to get another color in here, though. I may try adding some fuchsia to see if I can mix some purple. I hate to just wipe off all this blue. Maybe I can get some fuchsia in here and see if that will create some purple. I'm going to get some serious fuchsia to it. I still am going to have to go back and do some blue, but I wanted to do some more fun things while you're watching and just do blue paper. Oh, wow. I got some good stuff happening now. Look here. Just dip and drag, guys. Dip and drag. Look at what's happening here. This is going to be neat. That fuchsia really helped, because it's a strong, strong color too. The more I drag it, the more I'm going to end up with a solid color. But probably best to kind of leave it alone now. Here's one side. Here's the other. I think I'll just clear off just a little bit of my extra accumulation on the sides. I like that. That's neat. That's pretty. Okay, let's get some more of the fuchsia in here. This is how come when I start doing this, I end up with a lot of paper. Because I really like doing this. You will too. You will too. You will enjoy it also, I promise you. It is just great, great fun. But you need a nice soggy tray. Ooh, I like the way that's coming down there. Look at that. Isn't that neat? I'm going to keep that just like it is because that's neat. Okay, I really do have to have some blue papers. So,
Hurry up, you're down to 3 minutes.
Bryce says I'm down to 3 minutes. Can you get Margie's cards out here so I can show them for... You're going to have to show them. Huh? You're going to have to show them. But I do want to show Margie's cards for next week. I think they're right over here in the... You can just hold them up in front of the camera.
Realize what I can do.
Oh, look at that. Ooh. Okay, that's gorgeous. I'm not even going to bother to do the other side of that. I love that. Oh, I love that. I do want a little more color on the edge. Oh, that's beautiful. What I did not do was spritz the back, though. Yep, I'm almost out of water again. That means I'm going to have to sign off for the day. Slide that blue one over a little.
It's stuck.
Okay. Bryce is going to hold up Margie's cards because I don't think Margie would appreciate me holding up her cards right now. Look at my fingers. It's fuzzy right now. She's really getting more comfortable, I think. This is the harbor side that she did. This is what's coming up this week. Harbor side. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that, and move that just a little bit from side to side. You see that reflective paper she used to create the waves? Gorgeous. Gorgeous. On this one, she's using her cutouts again, I don't want to touch it, the leftovers to cut that frame for the happy birthday. She's so clever at that. This kit's very affordable too, unbelievably so. And here's her happy birthday from Harborside.
Which is actually a shaker card.
Oh, yeah. And it's a shaker card. Don't get it in my ink, though. We'll both be in trouble. Okay. 4 cards for Thursday. If you have not already hit that like button, I sure hope you'll smash that like button. If you're out there watching and you're not signed in to chat, that's okay. We would invite you anytime to sign in and chat with us. But if you like this video, please be sure to give me the thumbs up. Next week, we're going to make cards from these things that we created this week from these papers. So don't miss it. Best way not to miss is hit that subscribe button. Oh, I'm out of water. Hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode of what we're up to, because we have a lot of fun. As Mary was telling you earlier, some of us have been doing this together up to 3 times a week for 2 years. So subscribe to our channel and we promise you'll have fun with us. Are there any questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom? Oh, you know what? I did tell you I'd do something I haven't done. We're going to take one more look at the swatch cards so you can make your choices of colors you want. And you can identify the ones that you liked that we were working on.
Yes, you went too far.
Well, I have to have these papers for next week, so. All right, let's look at the powder colors one more time. because these swatch cards, and I do recommend making a set of these for yourself. It took me a while. I have to be honest about that. It did take me a while to make these swatch cards, but I can't even tell you how much I've used them in the last 2 days. Okay, so let's set this out of the way because it's distracting. And I'll probably lay my arm in it. Okay, this one's Sunset Gold. It has a decidedly golden color, and it does have a bit of, it has a more gold finish on the black than it does yellow. But that's the Sunset Glow. It's really nice for it, decidedly yellow color. This one's Sunburst, which I think is beautiful because you get bits of that. You get bits of that yellow with some oranges and pinks. It comes out, interestingly enough, purple on the black. Go figure. Here is, I think that's fuchsia, but I'm going to come back to that. I might have to actually match them to say, this is Green Bay, and I'm told we're out of this. I will get this again right away. It's beautiful. I'll get this again right away. I wasn't aware that we had sold out of this one. I see why we did, because it's absolutely gorgeous. Green Bay. Here's Zesty Lime. Zesty Lime is a great green on both black and white. It shows equally. Molten Gold is out too. I'll get it. I'll check all the colors and reorder anything we're out of. Here is Oxide Red. Red Oxide, because it's got, excuse me, 3 hours of talking. I'll do that to you. Red Oxide. And it is definitely a shower on the black. This one is just one of my faves, Groovy Grape. Look at the blues and the purples on the white side. And this is the one that depends on which angle you're looking at. One angle it's purple and the other angle it's blue on the black. I love that. Here is Pumpkin Patch. Decidedly orange on the white. Although it does have some softness to it too. But it's orange on the white and a little bit, it's muted, very muted orange on the black. Here is Gilded Plum. This one's interesting because it's got a lot of red and a lot of plum color to it. But when it comes out on the black, it's bronze, which is really pretty. Okay, this one is Teal Marine, another one of my absolute go-to colors. But then it would be because I'm all about the ocean and the beach and the whales and it is just my thing, guys. You know that. So Teal Marine would be a favorite color. You do get a bit of a cast of teal in the black cardstock. Here is Pale Blush, super soft pink. It almost looks white on the black, but you get a real soft pink on the white one. Here's Coral Crush. For those of you who watched our videos last time, in fact, I think I'll link both of my prior Jaimie videos in the newsletter today, and I will send you a newsletter today. You'll recall that you might recall that I made a piece of cardstock that was ocean colored, and then I pulled just the bottom of the cardstock up through the Coral Crush and created a piece that we used in one of my ocean scenes because it made beautiful coral. And the coral is equally visible on the black and the white. This one, I believe, yep, here's the Molten Gold we've heard about, and it's not showing right now. This is the one that actually creates patches of gold. Now, there are two that we'll see. One is just an overcoat. This is the one that creates actual patches of gold, equally on white and black. Here is Beyond Blue. Beyond Blue is a fabulous go-to color, but beware when you put this blue down, it's going to take over everything. It will overtake every other color on your palette. It's just very powerful, and it stays on your fingers for a long time. You guys probably wear gloves when you do this. I wouldn't consider it, not unless it was a safety issue. This is beautiful. This is called Blue Wish. You get that soft, really pretty sky blue with little flecks of purple in it on the white. That's gorgeous. And it turns purple on black. Isn't that fun? This is a beautiful color, Bluish. Here's Boulevard Lights. As we saw, we get kind of a nighttime color with this one, but then look at all the gold in it. This does not have a gold overcoat on it. That's all from the Pixie Sparkles, and it shows just in gold on the black. But isn't that beautiful? The Boulevard Lights shows tons of gold on a like evening sky. It's interesting. Here's Fuchsia Rose, which I thought this might be, but it's not. Fuchsia Rose gives me equally bright pink on the white and the black side. That's one of the things I made these swatches to see, which ones would show up really well in the blacks also. Here's my new fave, Into the Blue. Into the Blue. Now on the, where it's heavy on the black, you get a little bit of blue through and you get a lot of sparkle, but that on the white, that Into the Blue is just, oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, here's Sandstorm. A little bit more dandelion kind of color, I'd call this. You do get a yellow, not just a gold, but you do get a yellow through on the black with this one. Here is Peppermint Twist. Go figure where they came up with a name, but this is Peppermint Twist. It just kind of shows sparkly on the black. There's not a lot of color showing. You do get some gold through, but on the white, you get some spectacular teals and purples. Okay, this one's called Purple Rainstop, and this was one of the ones that we used to make one of our stencils. So it'll be interesting to see, I guess, what I'm doing tomorrow. This, and you know, even where you have other orders to fill, Betty, you can still play with your Jaimie powders and create some of your backgrounds. So you can still fit it in. I love going to my drawer and pulling out my Jaimie powders. That's actually one of the things I'm enjoying about not being tied to having a kit, is that I can pull out some of the stuff that I don't have 30 of to build a kit, you know? So I can pull out some of my Jaimie powders and things. I think you'll see more. This is the over gold. This is called Golden Marble. It doesn't have any real color on its own, but when you put it down, you get a golden shimmer on black and white. This is an overcolor. This is not intended to necessarily use on its own, but it will give a golden cast to anything you put it on top of, as does the Frozen Pearl. The Frozen Pearl will, in fact, change the color of your white images a bit, because it will make, the white will make things a little bit more pastel, and then you get that unbelievable level of shimmer because it's almost all mica. And you definitely get that white showing on the black. This is actually, I think, an important color to have in your collection, the Frozen Pearl. I didn't use this one today, and I don't know why, because I like it a lot. This is called Copper Splash. This would be just a go-to color for fall designs, wouldn't it? copper splash, and you definitely get those bits of copper. You definitely get that copper through, as well as some reds and yellows and oranges in that. It comes through on black, a little bit copper. It does come through a little bit copper. Here is Flirty Sky. You do get a bit of color, especially if you kind of concentrate your powders. You can get a bit of the pink on your black card. This is Heavenly Hues. And I'm going to have to match these up as I put my bottles away and figure out what this one was. I'll tell you in the newsletter what it was. It's like a fuchsia, although it's got a little bit more blue in it. It doesn't, the fuchsia doesn't have flecks of other colors. So I'm not sure what this is, but I'll tell you in the newsletter as I put my colors away today. I'll check and see what this one was and identify it. So there you go. There's your color swatches so you can make some more choices. And if you're still torn, you can replay the video right at the end and you can see. I'll show you these again next week. But see, we said that one was going to get a lot darker as the white turned to transparent. So we can we'll see all the dry ones next week, and we're going to build cards out of our dry ones next week. So we're going to have a lot of fun learning how to use those Jaimie powders. We're going to make Elsie's card next week. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to make those 2 medallion cards that I showed you, which are a lot of fun. So lots of good stuff coming up for the next week. Be sure to be here on Wednesday for What's New Wednesday as we see what's come in and what's gotten listed. I don't think there's going to be a lot of new stuff this week, but probably in the next couple of weeks, we're going to begin to see more new stuff. I did order the construction glue. It's coming from Hunky Dory. We have some fun new stuff from Hunky Dory on the way now. And so within the next couple of weeks, we should begin to see that coming through. We're going to have a construction project coming up here soon. So I may be a little lighter on orders coming into the warehouse, moving forward for a little bit. Yes, these are called Jaimie Rogers Pixie Sparkles, and I'll link them for you in the newsletter too. Are there any other questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom? Everybody's hit that thumbs up, right? Did we see that one? Oh, is this the color? I'm not sure. Maybe it is. That might be the color, because I don't remember reading that one. So that might be the answer to the mystery. Okay, so we'll see you at Wednesday for What's New Wednesday. See Margie for the Harbor cards that are just stunning. And we will be back next Saturday to make cards with all of our lovely stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with me for full afternoon. I do appreciate it. You guys have fun. See you next week.